So in this shit, they already show that he absorbed the gammas in there. So he is like perfected Cell Max Ultimate. I don't know.
Pro.
So they do that right off the bat, right? I'm like, okay. So then you go into the scenes where it's Goku, Broly, and Vegeta training, right? Now all of a sudden Beerus is involved, like way more involved. Now he's not just there eating ice cream, which I'm like, all right. I would have liked to see Beerus more involved, right? Like that's a ding, right? But then the first thing that I noticed, right, with Broly, for example, Broly had a facial expression on that he would not have, right? And it's not that I don't ever want to see Broly happy, because we've definitely seen him content, right? We've seen him smile, smirk, right? But he had on a similar face as to like any other character would in Dragon Ball. And that's not Broly. That's not Broly, right? I would know, okay? I am the Broly man, all right? I understand my character to the fucking core, okay? He would not have this look on his face, okay? So right then and there, I was like, okay, we're really getting into it, all right? We're getting into this shit, okay?
Oh, that's that good shit.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ooch. I'm here with my homie Kai, and we are back again. Once again, how y'all doing today? My good sir, children of all ages, the original duo is here. Oh my God. And we'll still do the jingle. Still do the jingle just to get into the mood. Everybody, Full Power Podcast. All right, yes sir. All right, so yes, that's out of the way. Yeah, Brother Uch is not here with us today. He's okay. He was gonna get his like molars removed and all that stuff, so I didn't want to have him on the freaking show like all like dead. Oh wait, that's the wrong button. Sorry.
Have him acting all goofy.
I actually asked him. I was like, I'm like, if you want to sit and just be there and not say anything and just look like a total dope, then it might be funny. The people might think that's hilarious, right? But he's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, just do your thing. So, Kai-san, how you doing today, sir?
I'm pretty good. It's a little late start for me, but it's good. It's not that bad. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Nothing out of the ordinary, yeah. That's definitely not anything out of the ordinary here. I can tell you that much. I'm freaking over here just same day in, day out, work grind, all that stuff. I finally got through. I actually made it through all 4 of the main God of War games. Okay.
Nice.
I actually did it in the time frame that I wanted to do it, so that I was in time for Ragnarok, so I could start it with everyone else, right? I'm not very far in Ragnarok, but I guess with my little video game update, dude, I'm gonna tell you specifically, okay? If you want to do a God of War extra, I'm okay with that, okay?
Yeah.
Because honestly, the 4th one, 2018 on PS4, is actually way better than expected and how you might anticipate it looking at it from the outside in. And even if you've only played a little bit of the beginning, it's not enough, because when we're coming from the first 3, right? And those the original trilogy is OD, right? But this one, it adds so many more layers to the existing story that, as people that love good stories, you have to play it.
Okay.
You have to play it. So
I'll run through that shit.
Oh yeah, and honestly, enjoy it whenever you do get a chance, because there's some side stuff that you can do. I didn't get to really do any of that. I'm trying to do that now with Ragnarok because I got the time whenever I'm on stream. Like, I'm not rushing or anything like that. So yeah, so guys, definitely check out the streams, and link will be in the description as always. And check out God of War. God of War, I know it has nothing to do with Dragon Ball, but literally it's that good. I'm bringing it up here. Okay, so shout outs. Okay, because we talk about head ass too much. All right, we need to alleviate that. You know what I'm saying? Like, get some good stuff in there. But yeah, anyway, I mean, speaking of what are we talking about this week? So I have some notes per usual. We'll definitely have some time to go over some comments today, some interesting things. And the one thing I love about this podcast is that I am always surprised, even with how, like, not just with us and like how we're able to carry a conversation for realistically however long we want to when it comes to Dragon Ball, but like sometimes fans will surprise me as well, like with some of the things that they'll ask or they'll mention, which, like I said, we'll go into a little bit later. But this is something for episode 80. Fucking episode 80. We're here, 80 episodes in, man. 20 more from 100. Oh,
damn,
that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So this thing I wanted to first bring up is I think this kind of goes off of what we were talking about last week. And I titled this "Retconning in Dragon Ball is Too Reckless," right? Because it kind of is. I wanted to kind of go into maybe figuring out some sort of solutions, and I think this is also somewhere along the lines we may have already talked about this in like a way earlier episode at some point.
I mean, we're approaching that point where we're like we've hit most of the points by now.
Yeah, like we're in a recycling phase, not gonna lie. Okay. And no, funny enough, dude. So I was talking to Geekdom, right? DMs, and he straight up was like, "You're still doing episodes?" He was like, "What are you guys even talking about?" Like, I'm like, dude,
right.
That's the thing, man. Like, we're still making
Just
it work.
Pull it out of thin air.
Yeah. And he's like, wow, like he's like, good for y'all, like legit, straight up. But he's ready for whenever we hit 1,000. As a reminder, guys, make sure you're subbing to the YouTube channel. We are almost there, but not quite. We're like at 957 or something like that. So once we hit 1,000, you're getting a live episode again, which will more than likely be like a 2-hour special. And then you're gonna get Geekdom on there as well, to join us, and I'm sure Brother Uch will be there too at that point as well. So it'll be the 4 of us, and we're just gonna go in and just kind of almost do some sort of a grand recap. I mean, just it's always a good time because Geekdom always brings so much knowledge. Like right when you think you've heard it all, man, this guy, he fucking tells us some shit that I never knew or I never thought of in that way. Like, he really is the professor. Like, he should open up a class. Imagine a class at your local college or even high school, right? And you could take and study Dragon Ball, like on that level. Dude, that would be the best class. Like, that would be the one class I'd be okay with being like a lab class where it was like 5 hours, 3 to 5 hours. And I used to hate those fucking classes. Those were the worst. I was like, dude, this is the sleep time. Let's be real. Like, I don't know about you, but when we had them labs back in the day, bro, I made sure I had my comfy hoodie with me because my shit was sleep, okay? I was like, there's no way. Like, yo, you ever had those photography classes, you know what I'm talking about? With the...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, those were rough. Man's lights off. It was only a projector-based freaking class the entire time. This dude was going over talking about wildlife like this and his dad, and he was already old. I'm like, bro, this is OD. And it would go on for hours. And I'm like, I'm not even the only one that sleep here. Post up in the back, chilling, whatever. Like, he would tell us the assignments like at the beginning, whatever, boom. But with Geekdom, I would be totally cool with him doing some, like, I keep telling him, I'm like, dude, you literally should just like, you if anyone was to teach Dragon Ball, it would have to be you, like 100%. So yeah, so he'll be here sooner than later once we hit that 1,000. So make sure you guys are like and share, subscribing, and then of course hit us up on the Patreon. Okay, if you want to hear your name shout out at the end of these episodes, check out the extra episodes. We have a few lined up for you guys that should definitely be interesting. As always, make sure you're hitting us up on Full Power Podcast over on Patreon, link in the description below. If you have a comment, question, concern, business inquiry, or fan art, definitely hit us up at fullpowerpod@gmail.com. That's fullpowerpod@gmail.com. And the Bluebird, even though it's kind of going down to shit, follow us on Twitter. Full Power Pod. Oh, the world.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a place.
What a fucking place. Exactly, right? So yeah, so Kai. So retconning in Dragon Ball, too reckless. So I mentioned this, I've definitely said this idea in the past. About like, because this relates directly to like the GT conversation that we had last week. And like I watched that episode back, and brother Ooze, my brother, the entire time, he was it was funny because he was talking as if like I was trying to make it make sense. Like I was saying, hey, it is canon verbatim, that's it. He was trying to, you remember, like he was trying to basically say that, like he was trying to prove like it's not and it wouldn't make sense. We already know that, right? So I'm gonna just reiterate that my whole point to last week's discussion on this episode or on this podcast was that thinking like a Toei person or someone in that position of power where historically they don't care about canon, and that's actually like a Japan thing overall. Canon really doesn't matter. They just like do things, and that's really it, with no consequence. Now obviously that's conflicting, because when you're trying to understand a story from point A to Z, or however long or short it is, there needs to be some sort of continuity, right? There can be side stories, but notice the side stories don't necessarily conflict with what's mainly happening, right? Then there's spin-offs, right? Spin-offs are different, because a spin-off is usually like something along the lines of like a different approach or take to something that's already happened, right? But again, that's what we hate to use this phrase, non-canon or canon, but that's how people understand it, right? So with the whole GT discussion, it's already put at rest, but sometimes people need a little bit more of an explanation to help them understand better, is simply that GT is currently in a position where, yes, it wouldn't make sense with, taking everything into consideration that's been happening within the last several years with Super alone. Obviously there is no God Key in GT. There is no Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego. There's no Beast. There's none of that obvious shit. There's not even Broly in GT, right? GT has Super Saiyan 4, has the Golden Ozaru, has the Omega Shenrons, the Black Star Dragon Balls, Baby Vegeta, Super 17, even a freaking appearance from the original Cell and Frieza when Goku went down to hell and fought them as Kid Goku, handled them with no problem, right? All of that happens in GT. That did not happen in Super, clearly. So, when you put 2 and 2 together, naturally it wouldn't fit at all. GT at that point it's almost like it's retconned out. But when you're when you're a company like Toei that doesn't necessarily give you straight answers as far as, how things should be looked at or perceived, they just want everybody to enjoy whatever they put out, which on a business standpoint, marketing standpoint, makes perfect sense, because you want people to buy all your products. You don't want people to come to your store and then just maybe look at one thing and that's all they're getting, and the rest of the store is a barren wasteland. You know what I'm saying? Same concept, same principle. It makes sense on that front. But again, to reiterate, by no means was I trying to canonize GT. All I was saying was, to them, it is canon, because everything to them is canon in its own way. So that's it. That's all I was trying to say. But as far as if they were to take that approach to try to make some sort of sense out of it, the one thing that I know that I've brought this up in the past is there would need to be a new character introduced, almost on some Xenoverse type shit, right? Where the character would have to come in and would have to have some sort of wild ass ability where it would directly affect everybody that we've seen on screen, at least within Universe 7, right? And all that character would have to do is basically pull a Men in Black, freaking wipe everyone's memory. But it wouldn't
I remember this.
Yeah, right? It wouldn't just have to be a memory wiping. It would almost have to be like an experience wiping in a sense. Because it's just like, because imagine a scenario similar, like put the characters that we have from Super, right? Everything that we've seen up to this point, including the superhero movie, right? All of that, and now inject it in GT. So the first thing that realistically it wouldn't work is Frieza is dead in GT. Frieza is very much alive in Super. So unless this character was to kill this Frieza, like right then and there, the whole concept, there's so many flaws at the base level just off of people who are dead versus who are alive going forward. So it's already a struggle. It's already difficult. But for the argument's sake, to play devil's advocate, right? You'd have to have this character really just manipulate this entire situation, like all these situations, just for GT to line up so that it could happen. But then it's like, okay, well, if you're going to wipe experience and memories and you're going to somehow make people that were not there, or people that were there, not there, like, whatever, right? That would cause for some weird rifts, I still think, at that point. So ultimately, I kind of think that what they really should do is, number one, they should fire some of the higher ups. Okay, just let them go. Okay, because I don't know if they would be so willing to do this, but they need more younger folks that are a little bit more open-minded and more accepting of other ideas and concepts that could be implemented that would actually breathe way better life into Dragon Ball as a whole. And it starts very simply with legitimizing certain works that are already there. And I'm not trying to sell this and turn this and twist this into a Legend episode again, right? Because you already know how we feel. Yes, we would love Legend to have its own, like, that is a true acknowledged and respected spinoff that has a presence. It's like an alternate timeline, right? That would be dope. Should happen. Start the Dragon Ball universe, right? Because it's like a Marvel universe, except not, but do it here with Dragon Ball. And this actually brings us back to, I know we did an episode on this, and this is definitely an origin, right? Because this is when it was just me and you, right? So here we are. What better way to pay back an homage to that, right? When you showed me the young GG fucking shits, okay? Dude, yes, he knows. He knows, dude. Oh my god, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, so like the young Gigi, okay, for those that might not know, and I definitely don't remember the number episode that we did, right? But to sum it up, and obviously, I mean, if you guys want to go back and find it, then you're a real one, okay? Right? But those episodes where you get to see like the roots and origins of like how we used to do all things and whatever. So go check those out. Those are actually going to not be on this channel. They're going to be on my personal channel on the Full Power Podcast playlist, probably under season 1. But I think I actually have that playlist on the channel that will bring you to that channel. But either way, okay, Young Gigi, right? This artist is one of the more known Dragon Ball artists who actually was, you could kind of compare him to Toyotaro's situation, right? Because Toyotaro, I believe, used to do Dragon Ball AF, right? His own fucking fan mangas, I'm pretty sure, from what I've seen and heard of in the past, right? And then look what happened. They brought him on, right? So not to say that it could never happen again. I feel like it should in this situation. But like young Gigi has already taken it upon himself to literally make stories that could essentially tie in existing non-canon works in Dragon Ball in the main continuity. And the way
that man makes shit work that was never supposed to work.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, dude, like the one example, and this has everything to do with GT, was literally the part during the Goku Black arc when there's a point in time where he like goes back to train, and the next time we see him, that's when he has Super Saiyan Rose. But how did he get it, right? And in this story that Young Gigi writes, he wrote it where he went to another timeline by accident. Like, he didn't go to the right time. He went to the GT time, and he finds Goku and he fights him. And literally, obviously at this point, Goku has Super Saiyan 4. And so Goku's fighting Goku Black, and we get to see shit like, we saw like Super Saiyan 3. Goku
we
Black.
Saw Super Saiyan 1 verse 1, 2 verse 2, 3 verse 3.
Yeah, like he'd monkey see, monkey dude off Goku. Like, yeah, OD.
He was teaching him the forms by accident.
Mm-hmm. And they kept and the characters were written so well because, like, Goku Black was like, I know you have something else that you're hiding. And then Goku was like, yeah, you know, you got me and all this. And then he's like, all right, no holding back. Powers up, Super Saiyan 4. So we're seeing Super Saiyan 4 versus Goku Black, right? And it was essentially through fighting Goku that brought out the, like, you know, the Super Saiyan with this God Ki that he obviously already had, and brought out Super Saiyan Rose. So this is where he gets it. But it was because, and understand this, guys, you have to really listen to what I'm about to say, okay? Because of, it was a Goku versus Goku essentially, right? Same bodies, even though Goku Black is obviously, you know, machine maneuvered, right, by Zamasu, right? As a reminder for those that forgot, that makes that body of Goku already have God Ki essentially, but it's still Goku's body, it's still the same frame, right? And because of that, GT Goku, because again, same person in body at least, he was able to essentially tap into his self, right? And he stacked God Ki on Super Saiyan 4. And that shit was fire. I don't even remember what it was called, what they called it. Right? But there was a name for it. And like, it looked amazing, and I thought it was so sick, and I didn't expect that shit to happen, and I popped off. And then the way they were able to kind of like handle, well, how would that ever make sense going forward in GT? Like, now, like, how can we never seen it? No, he trust me, he covered all his bases. He made sure that everything was put back in place the way it was, despite them showing us something new. And this is what I need if they're gonna do retcons, or they're gonna try to do all of these, like, you know, stories that could essentially write in moments that did not happen originally. And I think stuff like that would be super dope, and I would be so with it. So yeah, I need young Gigi, young Jizzle. I need him back in here. I need them to hire this man, and I need them to basically give the stamps of approval and sell his shit officially, so that way all of those stories tie in. And guess what? I think if they were to do something like that on a marketing standpoint, dude, it would be one of the greatest things to ever happen, because they could then tie that right back into the main story. Because what was the other thing that I had said? In Super, Frieza building an army, Imagine if his army was all of those characters, all of those villains from all of those movies. And boom, they're all canon now in some crazy fucking way. She would be fucking sick. She would be sick.
Oh my god.
So what are your thoughts on all of this, and what ideas might you change or do different or whatever?
I remember reading that Young Gigi thing, and that shit looks so official, like artwork and everything. Like the story was way too overwritten, so I knew that part wasn't real. But everything else looks so real that I was obviously blown away. Like I read it and like my jaw dropped because I was like, yo, he fixed it. Like
he fixed it.
He fixed it. Like I didn't think it could be done, but here it is right in front of me. Right?
Yeah.
So I would love to see him, you know, get his bread, because that shit's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And I know he could do so many more stories just like it, because it's like you said, it follows with the main continuity. It's just extra material that we're given that can connect everything together. Toei wants to act like everything's fucking canon anyway because everything makes the money. Fine, at least fix your shit.
Facts.
Please. It's that simple.
Yeah, it is that simple. I mean, like, it's a matter of perspective, and I guess like what they deem as like something that they would want to work on, I guess. Because honestly, it's like, obviously at the end of the day, they're gonna always go with what they think is gonna make them more money or be successful. And I'll also bring this up, right? Originally, Toriyama, it was never his idea to bring back Broly, okay? Not even to bring him back, but to just use the character. And then it was his version that would essentially make it official, because it was from Toriyama, who's the original creator of Dragon Ball Z, right? So it was Akio Ioku, the homie. The Oyoku is like the right-hand man to Toriyama, okay? It was because of Ioku. That is the reason why we got Broly, because he brought it to Toriyama's attention, because Mans is paying attention. He's around here scouting and looking and seeing how things are. All the data that I basically pulled off of my fucking memory banks and just looking at how things were done over the several years during the Dragon Ball drought. I mean, like, Broly was so popular, Mans was like on every cover of like every game and was a part of any kind of DLC whenever applicable. Like even to more recent things, Dragon Ball Fighters. Broly and Bardock were the first 2 DLC characters for Fighters. And then when season 2 came out, even when people didn't think that the Super Broly would be in that game, I knew. Not because anyone told me.
Why would people think that though? There's no way.
What do you mean?
There was no way he wasn't gonna be in the game.
Oh, right, exactly. Like that, and that's what I mean. What's common sense to us may not be so for a lot of other people, but again, that's why we're here, right? We're here to just elaborate and talk about, educate, enlighten, and entertain.
That was pretty obvious.
Dude, I was in line with my dude Yipes. Okay, for anyone that's in the fighting game community, who knows obviously who Yipes is. If you don't, look him up and you'll see he is a legend in the fighting game community. Okay, and Yipes is a homie, right? So he knew who I was, so we dapped it up, and he straight up was like, you know, we chopped it up a little bit, and I asked him, I was like, yo, because he was, at the time, he was like one of the head commentators for the game, so like he did the official Bandai streams, you know what I'm saying? Like he was on those Johns commentating and doing all that shit, so he might obviously know some people in the inner works, and so I asked him, I said, yo, so do you think that they're gonna, because we were in line for the Broly movie, like this is with 2019 January when this happened, right? This was with the early release, so me and Brandon was there, so feeling special as all hell, because I'm like, yo, they invited Yipes here, they invited fucking me, wow, that's OD, like this was invite only. So I'm over here talking with Yipes, I'm like, yo, so do you think that they're gonna put this Broly in Fighters? And he goes, nah. He goes, nah, it's not gonna happen. Whether he was just trying to, you know, hold on that information, that remains to be seen, because he could have definitely been white lying me, you know what I'm saying? which he did a good job on that. But in my head, I was like, what? You don't think he's gonna be in this fucking? And man, then was it literally that same month towards the end of the January or early February, they had an official stream announcing season 2 DLC, and motherfucker Broly was, first of all, they never did this before. They never gave you all the characters, especially the last one. They straight up told you he was gonna be the last character in season 2. I was like, bro, of course they're gonna jump on that shit. Come on. Like, it's Broly, son. Fucking green, making that green, you know? Oh. So.
Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, like, as far as like, I mean, we're pretty much like thinking the same when it comes to like how they should handle this. I mean, Young Gigi is definitely one of those things. Like, do you have any other like retcon solutions that they could do?
We're long past the point of solutions because they've stacked way too many retcons on top of each other where I'm just kind of like throwing my hands up like, fuck it, I'm gonna just watch it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Run this shit.
Yeah, run it. Yeah, it is what it is then. Yeah, that's basically like, I would say the best ways to go about it. You know, the first thing I mentioned with having a character that would have the ability to wipe memories and experience. I mean, that's kind of just half the freaking issue right then and there, because again, there's characters that were not in GT that are currently alive now. And even at the beginning of GT, remember when Goku's fighting Oob in the time chamber and Goku legitimately references Frieza directly. He's like, oh man, like this is almost as tough as my fight with Frieza. And like Frieza was dead. So, and I don't know, and then obviously
there's too many.
Yeah. And then the big one, which I honestly would much rather them do, is to go the Young Gigi route, go the route of just allowing more like very not head ass but like head focused stories that make everything else make more sense, so that everything has, because think about it, if they do that, then people are gonna care more about all those movies, and then guess what, people are gonna start buying those shits again for no fucking reason. You know, like, I'm pretty sure if you go to Amazon Japan, you can actually get the re-released Blu-ray movies that are remastered, which they did not do for America, of course. It's Japan only, but it exists. It definitely exists. So
see, and don't forget, like, everything we're mentioning, like, these are all sub solutions to fix the clear retconning issue, because the main solution we've talked about a couple times already. It's just Marvel this shit. Right. Just make it a multiverse. Just literally like let it happen.
Yeah.
Because then they can do exactly as they have been, except it would be okay.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. So the other topic I got here, moving on, right, is there is another fan work out there. Okay. And
is it Kakume?
No, but I'm not like, so Kakume and Deliverance are fan works that have been mentioned here from fans of ours several times, especially when Legend dropped. And obviously, folks, you know, they like hearing our takes on things and our input on things. And that's just the next thing that they would want us to check out. Now, granted, when I looked back on my own channel, obviously all the Legend shit did very well. So well that it's better than a lot of the shit that I'm putting out right now. Just to, you know, full transparency, right? So I'm just like, okay, well, if we're trying to grow the real ones and we clearly want to do this full time, I have to kind of go with the current rather than against it. So I'm not saying that I'm gonna just jump into all this fucking shit right now, guys. All right, here we go. No, it'll take time. But I'm not here to talk about Deliverance or Kakume just yet. I am here to talk about something that's actually a lot more recent, and it's this Dragon Ball Super Hero fan-made animation. So I don't know if you've seen it, but all there is, and I'm gonna break it down for you. I actually just watched it today. Okay, and there's just a teaser. It's not even the whole thing's not done yet, but it's coming out this year. So I'd imagine it would come out maybe next month if we're lucky. But this is essentially someone, or I don't know if this is a team of people or one person, but they decided to obviously create something that was their approach on how they would have done superhero, right? And I want to say flat out that animation wise, fantastic job. Of course, clean, crisp, a lot of fan animators out there. They know what they're doing. Nothing wrong with that. And I had no problems with that, right? But it reminded me as to why I don't especially get invested into these fan works, right? And it's because you can kind of see how certain fans look at things with Dragon Ball and with characters, especially with characters, right? And you get to see how people perceive those characters just with their work. And like this brings me back to an example where I probably brought it up here, or at least to you, where someone hit me up on Instagram and they sent me their fan manga of how they would have done the Tournament of Power. And essentially, Vegeta just goes Ultra Instinct and then they fuse. And I'm just like...
Views?
Good ass callback. That was a good one. Oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, man. I bring that shit up because as a reminder, I'm like, listen. I'm like, you guys have to understand, right? Like, we are how we are, and we look at and constructive criticism, right? We do that, okay, because we understand Dragon Ball based on how it's presented, okay? Like, everyone's gonna have their favorites, but you have to really, like, you have to understand why characters respond in certain ways versus why they're not responding the way you want them to, because that's not how they're written, right? So I say all this to kind of give you a nice preface layer here. And the teaser shows a bunch of things. It basically, the plot of the movie, I feel like, is completely different. All right. It's not like this fan work is about to be something that takes the movie, but then changes a little bit, like adds a few more fight scenes or anything like that, or changes a few outcomes. It's like they basically took the blueprint of the movie and they kind of just injected all this fucking shit that, honestly, it just feels like this was the movie that people were kind of expecting. And when I say that, I directly mean, like, what was one of the biggest things that we thought was going to happen? When I made the prediction that Cell was going to be in this movie, we thought that Cell was going to absorb the Gammas. What didn't happen in Superhero? He didn't absorb anybody. He was essentially perfected, but not all the way. He was his own new version of perfection, except he got taken out of the oven too soon, right? So in this shit, they already show that he absorbed the Gammas in there. So he is like perfected Cell Max Ultimate. I don't know.
Pro.
So they do that right off the bat, right? I'm like, okay. So then you go into the scenes where it's Goku, Broly, and Vegeta training, right? Now all of a sudden Beerus is involved, like way more involved. Now he's not just there eating ice cream, which I'm like, all right. I would have liked to see Beerus more involved, right? Like that's a ding, right? But then the first thing that I noticed, right, with Broly, for example, Broly had a facial expression on that he would not have right? And it's not that I don't ever want to see Broly happy, because we've definitely seen him content, right? We've seen him smile, smirk, right? But he had on a similar face as to like any other character would in Dragon Ball. And that's not Broly. That's not Broly, right? I would know, okay? I am the Broly man, all right? I understand my character to the fucking core, okay? He would not have this look on his face, okay? So right then and there, I was like, okay, we're really getting into it, all right? We're getting into this shit, okay? So through the dialogue that we hear, it kind of gives me the impression that they're aware of what's happening on Earth, but we don't know if they're gonna get involved, which if they do, oh man, I can't wait to see this shit, because it's gonna be a mess. I can already tell, right? It's gonna be a fucking mess, but it gets worse. Well, this part's not worse, right? Whatever. They decided that they were gonna implement Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct, right? And a controlled Broly, like powered up. I'm like, okay. So it seems like their sparring match didn't just become, it wasn't just Goku versus Vegeta, no transformations. It's a 3-way with no rules. Okay? Maybe Beerus gonna fight. Okay? I don't know, right? Now here's where shit gets out of control. Okay? Oh wait, actually, sorry. There's one other thing. They do something that I know you're gonna like, and I know I liked. We see Teen Gotenks, okay? Now that is a ding. Interestingly enough, though, it's not the Gotenks that we wanted, because they decided to stick with the whole blue hair, not purple, okay? Because when we saw Gotenks, the fat Gotenks, he had the purple rather than the blue that we thought he would have had, because Trunks came with that blue hair. But so they stuck with that, and they decided, oh, well, we're just gonna keep it to make sense. But guess what? They fucked up. You wanna know why? Because Trunks' hair never makes sense. Okay? You should have left that alone. If you're gonna do Teen Gotenks, it should have been how we wanted it. Right?
They tried. E for effort.
Right. And you know what? But in this version, Gotenks, it looks like Gotenks has a little bit more action involved. Like we see Gotenks doing the Ghost Kamikaze. I'm like, okay, fine.
That's a staple for that character. That shit's got to stick around.
Absolutely. I agree. Right? And here's where things get fucking worse. So after we're seeing Cell Max Ultra Super Duper, whatever the fuck version, right? Gohan spits out the line, "Cell, give me back Pan." So in this movie, Cell kidnaps the daughter. Okay. In this movie, it's the actual original Cell. It's not like this new Cell, right? Okay. Cell absorbs the Gammas. Okay. Gohan goes Super Saiyan 4. What the fuck is that? Explain to me how in the world you're gonna make sense of that.
People be, I don't know, they be, I swear, they be stuck on that fucking Raditz fight, man. Like every Gohan head ever with this beast shit, they be stuck on that Raditz fight, and I feel like that's the same justification that's trying to be used here for Super Saiyan 4.
It's realistically, dude, it's just one of those things.
Was it done right? Did he just like pop it out? Did he go ape? Was there a moon? Like what's good here?
And let me tell you this.
Just hit that.
Let me tell you this. If they, and here's how I can slightly draw any sort of connection with this Super Saiyan 4 Gohan here in the superhero movie, is if they try to tie this to Beast because it's a beast. I don't accept that. I'm sorry. I don't at all.
Same.
Okay, I don't accept that because like as far from what we constantly talk about, right? There are certain things that are established that make sense, and yes, things always change, but look at how those changes are done. Like, yes, it seems very ass-pulley and they just fucking write as they go. Of course, it's Dragon Ball. That's the nature of the show. But even at that point, they essentially do it within reason. And I use air quotes, okay? Because I say that because naturally, what happens? It's not about us. It's not about us not wanting it, or yeah, we obviously don't want them to do that shit. But it's just like, why? Like, why are they doing that? We thought we knew something, but no, really, it's like this. That's how it is, right? But with something like this, they have already started setting that up for a character like Broly, okay? Gohan has never had a moment where it was ever confirmed that he tapped in to his Ozaru state. Never. Only when he actually had the tail and the moon was there. That's the only time. Only time. You can't even look at GT because, oof, that version of Gohan, rough, right? Rough. No one talks about that, obviously. But in this shit, I don't and I cannot see how that's even the case, because obviously we saw with Beast, it's not like his tail sprouted, right? It's not like it would fucking sprout. They're calling it Beast because Gohan's unleashing his inner beast. But is it the same? Is it similar to the Ozaru? Not confirmed. If they're trying to write this as such, I don't like it. Because what? Like I can't. Like I just like, cause think about it. Whether you try to make it so it's like, okay, Gohan goes Super Saiyan 4 and then he goes Beast, or does he go Beast then Super Saiyan 4? Does he use Beast as a cat? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a fucking mess.
Does he use Beast as a catalyst?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like this is why. This is why I really don't dive into fan stuff as much for reasons just like this. The animations could be great, right? Some things we might like. But then when you wrap it all up, and you tie that shit up, and you're really looking at it as a whole, I mean, obviously it doesn't matter anyway, but still. Cause then you know what comes with that? You know what the fuck it comes with. It comes with all the fans that fucking eat it up. And they're like, yo, this is what I was looking for right here. Okay. And then they go across the YouTube land or Twitter or Instagram or fucking those god-awful Facebook pages, and they try to spread that shit around like it is a part of the main shit. And then sometimes those people, they cloud their minds with all of the bullshit, right? And then they infuse it with what's real. It's like a delusion. They do it to themselves.
Those are the people that get their facts from Screen Rant.
Yes, exactly. And oh my god, I fucking hate Screen Rant. I really do. I really do. But what are your thoughts on everything I just fucking said? Because bro, you're gonna see my reaction. I'm gonna post it up later today at the time of this recording, right? But
I haven't even seen it and I'm already over it. Like, I don't know. I'm picky like you when it comes to fan shit, and it's not. I feel like a lot of people, you know, like hear a conversation like this one and misunderstand our tone and what we're saying, and just kind of be like, oh, they like, you know, they only like it for like what they want to see. Like, well, they can't write something better. You know what I mean? Like that type of like negative energy would be spit back. But realistically, we just want things to make sense. we obviously like I feel like the majority of the fans for Dragon Ball, especially, they all want to see the same things. We all, you know what I mean? Like we all want a good story. We all want to see crazy new forms. We all want to see good fights, you know, good slice of life moments too, like if it's done right. But a lot of this shit has not been done right, especially with like newer Dragon Ball stuff. And that's partially because the creator doesn't give a damn, but it is what it is. That's just kind of how we progress. And, you know, the fans are taking it upon themselves to try to do something about it. So I have to shout them out for it. I have to give respect where it's due. That's great. But at the same time, like, I feel like a lot of people are so overly passionate about their projects for things like this that they don't put in as much effort as they think they are.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they, you know, clearly if you're out here making a whole fan project, animation, voice acting, all that shit, that's a whole process. You might not just be one person, especially a lot of these times it's not just one person. So for you to involve so many people like that and not kind of like look at the bigger picture or just write some head ass shit that makes no sense, it's like, you might as well just keep watching the original, because there's plenty of head ass there. Like, I thought the whole point of a fan project is for you to kind of like redo it, but do it better, or at least your personal version of better.
Right.
But sometimes a lot of these stories, they're just like, it's like you said, you just like, what am I reading? What am I watching? Like, yo, what the fuck is happening? Like, I'm here because I love Dragon Ball. That's how I got here in the first place. I want to see your story. I want to know more, all that. And then you put some fucking freak shit in there. And it's like, okay, hold on. It's going to be hard for people like us to bounce back from that. Because once we see something that makes zero sense, it's like, okay, there's got to be more than one thing. It can't only be one thing. And it's just very off-putting.
Absolutely. I agree, man. Like, and like, I'm glad you started off by saying like, we're not trying to come off like, you know, like rude or anything like that. But yeah, you know, this is like, that is clearly what we're not trying to do. Like, we're never trying to insult any of the folks behind these things, but it gives us a perspective and a little bit of a glimpse of like how much they understand of the source material and how they're trying to implement it into their own work. And like, it is their take or whatever. I mean, we don't know realistically why they're making it. I mean, why not? It's like they're talented enough to do animation, make this whole project happen, right, whatever. It's another form of entertainment, like all that checks out. But then it's just like, you know, I would have to obviously say that this in particular, or anything that's relatable, is not meant for us, because I would have to then just say the target audience is just like young kids that just, they don't care for fucking anything that makes sense. They don't question things. They don't, you know, ask any of the real, you know, like they don't wonder nothing. They're just there to see the transformations in the fights. Okay. Like, that's fine. There's clearly a market for that.
There is, especially with Dragon Ball too.
Yeah.
So, cause it was, you know, that's how it started.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Just bringing it back to its roots. But yeah, for people like us that we just want more from Dragon Ball, a lot of these fan works don't give it to us.
Right. Like, that's why we give such high praises to Legend. That's why we gave high praises to Young Gigi. You see what I mean? Because it's either you have to make what's existing with other things that exist that maybe are not canonical make sense as well. You either have to tie those two things together and it's done so well that we're like, yeah, this is what we're looking for, or you do something so original that it gets us like, wow, this is the potential of where Dragon Ball could go based off of their thought process. And like, dude, Legend is the best thing ever. Okay, I will say that again. Okay, I will say that. I will remind y'all constantly. Okay, because that is how you do a fan project right. Okay, where you take what's already known, but you fucking you just do one of these, some of these, right? And you're just fucking you look at that fucking shit and you're just like, bro, this is the greatest thing of all time. Like, you have to really, when you start questioning, like, yo, I just want more of this over the original, you know you did something right. And like, 9 million fucking views later, clearly you did something right. All right. So yeah, that is what it is. With this thing, and like once it comes out and we see the whole story, I would of course like to bring it up again and talk more about it. And I know my brother is gonna oh shit. I think he's gonna rip it apart. Like, you already know how Brandon gets. This man, he's about to, it's not gonna look good. I don't think. It's not gonna look good. The one comment I did want to bring up, while we have some time left over, right, is this person. I mentioned this earlier. I said, there was a comment that I'm very happy to see that this is something that we never really spoke on. It's never really said, and never really thought that someone would think this, but it's an interesting take, right? So this person writes, funny about Goten and Trunks, funny about their teamwork, right, is that it's on full display, and in parentheses, and they didn't have fusion at the time in Bio Broly. And right. And they say, but nobody wants to at least acknowledge that because of that movie, which is true. Okay. It is the same reason why Bio Broly is in their top 5, because the dads, Gohan, Piccolo, etc., aren't around to bail them out.
They had to handle it.
They did.
Even Krillin threw his Kamehameha in there. Like, they needed every little bit they could get, but they handled it.
Exactly. And yeah, and I responded with that. I could respect that. I personally wouldn't put Bio Broly in my top 5. I don't even know if it's in my top 10. Not even gonna lie, no disrespect, but it gives me a new perspective at that movie. It is like the movie that does not get spoken on.
Bro, this is like the 4th time you got a new perspective on that movie, though. I swear, because we've talked about it a couple times, and you've been like up and down with it because, I mean, we all know why it's down.
Yes,
but we've been talking about its random up moments here and there too. Yeah,
no, that's true. That's a reminder on a reminder, because I totally forgot about that in and of itself. But yeah, over time, whenever Bio Broly does come up, I have changed my outlook on it. I mean, it's still shit, don't get me wrong. It's still a very shit fucking movie for the most part. But when it comes down to certain things taken from it, like Goten and Trunks, yeah, they had to handle it. They figured out how to stop, a Cell Max Broly, right? They figured got him. They figured out how to freaking do it.
See, and that's the other thing too, is like if the main or the sole reason behind it being in your top 5, regardless of the fact that it's a shit movie,
yes,
is that Goku and Vegeta weren't there and things got handled in a nice way, and you like that, and you can rock with that, superhero.
Right. Exactly. Like,
I don't know, like I that movie, I don't need to rip it apart, just
yeah, that's superhero. Superhero is its own monster, just because of the things that.
Oh, it's its own monster, already.
Oh yeah. I thought that the comparison to Bio Broly, not comparison, but the just bringing up that movie because of what it did for somebody, because they actually appreciated that a lot, was awesome to see and read, because you don't really get to see all that much, and it wasn't totally like out there either, because I do appreciate when fans, they give me like their take on something that I normally don't really hear often, and it wasn't like so obscure either. Like I'm not one to really be behind obscurities. Like, it would have to be super interesting for me to like really pay mind to it and be like, oh shit, like this is actually kind of dope. But like, because usually when I say obscurities, I mean like, it's like people that think like Yajirobe is like the best character, right? Like, this is like, what? Like, get the fuck out. Like, stop. Like, why? Like, you can like him.
But he cut Vegeta's tail.
I'm not even gonna give a sound effect for that shit because fuck that. Like, it's like, oh no. like.
So you're not worthy of the button.
Yes, correct. Like,
hey, I win.
Yeah, like, cause like a character like Yajirobe, dude, like, he's funny, right? But why? Like, you know, like that's what I'm talking about when I say obscure. Like, when they say like Corrin, oh, Corrin, yeah, greatest character of all time. Like, and I'm just making shit up when I'm saying this, like, because I personally haven't seen any of those fans, but I know they exist. Because if people are saying wild shit with the shit that's out here now, I'm sure there are people out there that are really out there that are waiting on fucking like Android 13 to come out the woodwork. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking Hachiyak about to come out the ground or some bullshit like that. You know, like, no.
Bojack about to bust out the planet.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Whatever. So, but yeah, that was a comment. What's up?
So there was I had one thing in my suggestions. I cannot remember for the life of me if I mentioned it before, but it's just a quick question that I wanted to bring up. Hopefully I didn't bring it up already, so stop me if I did. But you know the move Dragon Fist?
Of course.
Did we talk about this?
We may have.
Do you already know where I'm going with this?
I don't, but go ahead.
So I was thinking about it, and I was just like, I think it was when I saw that that artist on Twitter draw the divine Dragon Fist or whatever with Super Saiyan Rose.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
That's a great picture.
So that I think that's when I initially had this thought, because I saw that and I was just admiring the artwork, of course. So shout outs to whoever that was. And I looked at it and I was like, yo, shouldn't Dragon Fist, Super Dragon Fist, whatever, shouldn't that be a Namekian move?
Yes. Oh, that's a great thing right there. I'm glad you said that.
Shouldn't that literally belong to them? That's like, come on now.
Yeah. That would make sense because they're the ones that basically made the Dragon Balls, you know, and they have the means to alter the dragons. Like, dude.
Imagine if Namekians got some type of power up where, like, not one of the fighting ones, but like maybe one of the healing ones or one of these like super spiritual Namekians got a way to tap into, like, instead of making the Dragon Balls turn himself into like a Dragon Ball type shit, like have the power of Shenron, like just OD as fuck.
That would be sick. And that would make them broken.
That would make them broken. That puts them on the playing field without just being like, yeah, here you go. Orange.
Yeah, with a little extra. But funny you bring that up because Geekdom actually he said in one of his recent videos where like he explained Piccolo's transformation, and he left a reminder that the reason why Shenron gave Piccolo a little extra on top of what he had asked for is because Piccolo was originally a god. He was a kami prior. So like he knows what's up. So he did him a solid.
Of course.
So yeah, what you're saying makes perfect sense. That shit should be a Namekian thing. It's weird how it's not.
Isn't he technically the descendant of Shenron's creator?
Yeah, dude. Like that.
Yeah.
That should be something. That's a very interesting point to bring up, just all in and of itself, because like, and it's weird how that works out too, because like the Namekians, not all of them are like known to be like these, like a warrior race. They're really not. They're just,
yeah, they're not.
Yeah, like they got a few.
They're on some water bending shit. They're split.
Yeah, like they're there to establish and create things and to like provide harmony and healing and all this shit. But then you got the exception of, you know, when you have like guys like Piccolo, you know, and Nail and stuff like that, right? Where they clearly were the ones doing the fighting, but they weren't like, they didn't measure up until now, like for Piccolo's, you know, because he had to wish for it. But I feel like he's one of, if not the only character that could get away with doing that, and it's more acceptable among fans. Because if anybody deserves any kind of like free upgrade in that respect, it's Piccolo. Man's put in his time.
Hundreds of different reasons why. We could sit here and do a whole episode on why he deserves it, for real.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure we already kind of did, but it is what it is, right? I'll throw in this funny comment because it was funny. It was actually from one of our patrons. I recognize the name, right? So, and then we're gonna do the Patreon shout outs and be out here. So, this is from Mr. Wash. Mr. Wash said, "Man, I swear, if GT was canon, Hercule would be the strongest non-fused character in the fucking series." And the reason they said, yo, Mans took a full gut check by Omega Shenron at like 60 years old and was still alive. Imagine Ultra Ego Hercule. Oh. Yo. That was funny. I laughed. I did laugh. This is the type of head ass I enjoy. That I know they're not serious, but that was fucking funny.
He really did, though. He really got gut checked. I can picture that kick clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, shout outs to Ultra Ego Hercule. Yo, you know what's crazy?
Ultra Afro Hercule.
Ultra Afro. Dude, we haven't really seen Hercule in Super at all.
Good.
Oh shit. Dude, I miss R-Dub of DBZ when he would come out and like that shit was fire. And he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm the champ." Yo, that fucking Hercule was fucking hilarious. I loved Hercule. He was a funny ass fucking character. He always have his fucking stomach aches and shit. The real hero.
Right?
Oh my god.
That shit is funny.
Yeah, it definitely was. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it is that time for the Patreon shoutouts. Okay, and let's give it up for Jayante Sheridan. Let's give it up for Jarek Rivera. Shout outs to Louis Barnett. Shout outs to Mark Wesley. Shout outs to Soul Awakens. And shout outs to the man from the land of the rising sun, our boy Juice there. Give it up for our boy Juice. Thank you guys for the tier 3 patrons. If you want to hear your name shout out at the end of these episodes, make sure you're a tier 3 or higher. And if you want these extras, obviously it's tier 2. But if you want to just support, you can actually, we're in queue for this feature, but you might be able to actually do a free trial on Patreon for our tiers and all that stuff. So you get the extra content, get your name shouted out if you are, doing the trial for that. I don't know how it works, but it's not set up yet. But definitely go ahead, check us out at Full Power Podcast over on the Patreon page. Hit us up on fullpowerpod@gmail.com for your comments, questions, concerns, business inquiries, or fan art. And as always, hit us up on the ever-dying Bluebird at Full Power Pod over on Twitter, right?
It's okay. You know why? Because Goku gonna get some life in that bitch.
Yo, did I tell you I found that song on Spotify and I added it to my fucking gym playlist? Because I think of that moment whenever I need an extra push. That shit was fucking fire. That shit, oh my God, that moment was sick. Go watch Cooler if you haven't. If you have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, okay? That shit great moment. Goku had Jesus powers before Naruto. Okay, he did. So, anyways, Kai, is there anything left that you want to leave with the people at home?
Nah, I mean, enjoy everything Dragon Ball, whether it's official, not official, fan art, all that good stuff. But you know, just try to like it for what you liked it for at the beginning. Don't try to think too hard about it. Don't get too logistical, because we already destroyed ourselves on that end. Y'all don't gotta do that shit. We got you covered. So just take a deep breath, enjoy the shits, and keep your primal lights in check.
Very well said. I like that. Very well said. I'm sure Brother Ooch is going to tell you how to stay fresh, stay clean, right? So, on that note, it's been your boy, Ooch, the lethal one, Brother Ooch, and the homie of all the Kai. Like, share, subscribe, hit us up on Twitter, all that good stuff. Supporting links going to be in the description as always. Make sure y'all taking care of yourselves. May the power protect you. Keep it locked, loaded right here on this channel. Stay safe, stay clean, stay inside, and we'll see y'all next time.